Alright. Bit of a different video today. As some of you are aware, I am an artist and I've never actually gone over my drawings that I've done over the past couple years. So I thought, I like drawing. I like showing my drawings. So I'll show the few people who care to click on this video. So that's what this video is gonna be. I had this. I draw mostly. I've been doing. I only drew one like real person. I mostly draw anime, but you know, some of this stuff is like very old. So we just gonna start with this one. So yeah, this one was from 8th grade. It was supposed to be a birthday gift from my father. I never ended up finishing it, but I do like this drawing. So, you know, this one not bad. I didn't end up finishing the face, but I'm not really gonna touch it. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, cause to me, I think it's better that way. But this drawing was done around 2019. I believe I did this 2019, so not bad, not bad. Majin Vegeta from Dragon Ball, so that was his favorite character. That's why I was gonna draw that for him. This is Naruto that I messed up on. Okay, and here's our next one that is also unfinished. Naruto, you know, of course, KCM 2, but I drew this 2020. I started this 2020. I really don't know why. Okay, I actually do think I know why I didn't finish this. I don't think I was gonna be able to like properly do the torso and the head. Even though I'm looking now, like I probably would have barely had space. I made the legs really long. I didn't even do the feet. I tried to do the feet, but I erased it. It doesn't look bad though. I just didn't finish it. But yeah, this was, I believe, maybe it was on the second half of 2020. This was around the time I used to play Drum Force a lot. So this is another, you know, one of those drawings that I did a little while ago. Same thing with this. I don't even remember when I did this, but I didn't end up finishing this. Alright. Next we have my actual first completed drawing. So got the Super Saiyan Goku. This one is nice. I drew this, I think this was my first drawing of 2021, I believe. I like it, very clean, very simple. Honestly, one of my favorite. I like the way the hair is for this form. Like the way it's drawn, cause the other Super Saiyan 2 is like it's similar, but the way the hair is drawn, like this, like the strands for Super Saiyan is more thicker and it flows, it's more wavy. So I had drew that Goku, but yeah, this one the beginning of 2021, my first actual completed drawing. Only problem with this one is that it's not actually in the photo. I mean, it's not actually in the book because the whole side ended up coming off, but I still keep it in here and I'll get it fixed eventually. Alright. next we have this one. So this was around February, I believe, of 2021. Goku during the Broly movie. This one actually, fun fact, I do this one without my glasses, I believe. So I'm actually kind of surprised that I did this, that I was able to do it without it. Because I'm looking at it now without my glasses, and like, I'm just thinking about how much of a chore that would be. And I was more blind at the time too. At that time I had an even thicker prescription. So shout out to the old me for doing that. But yeah, another Goku drawing. Alright. This next one, I honestly couldn't tell you when I did this. I honestly could not tell you when I did this. But this is probably one of my worst drawings performance wise. I think I could have done a lot better. For this character that I drew from Naruto, this is a very cool character, and I did not do him justice at all with this drawing. But yeah, that's the other one that I did. I don't know. I'm trying to think about when I did it. I'm not ringing a bell. So, all right. I do know when I did this one though. So, I drew this one. I finished it December 2021. You know, Gogeta from Dragon Ball, of course. I like the shading I did for this one. It's simple, but I still mess with it heavy. I remember during this time, honestly, during the first half of my sophomore year of high school, I was always very quiet. I didn't talk much. I was always to myself. And I remember there was a portion of the year, like in December, where we had a substitute. No, we didn't have a substitute for one of our periods, so we would go to the auditorium, and you know, I had nothing to do. I would put on my headphones, and you know, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna draw Gogeta, and that's what ended up happening, and the rest was history. So it doesn't look bad at all. The actual structure of I could have done better on the actual structure of like the face and this arm right here, but the shading doesn't look bad. So that's this one. Let's see. All right. Okay. This was either 2021 or 2022. Now, I couldn't tell you, if you want to be honest, but it's one of the Naruto characters from the Anbu Black Ops. She had her own little filler black story. She had purple hair, if you could tell who this is. But my sister actually made her she put her autograph right there. So I never ended up finishing it. But this is not a bad drawing, so it's just not finished. The pose and everything looks fine. I just never continued it. But let's see. Alright. I do remember this one. So I drew this August 2022. Stage 6 past Naruto, of course. 2022 was my best year for drawing because I actually did one drawing every single month. All of the drawings I showed prior were not during that time. Um, yeah, okay. I'm trying to think about it. Yeah. So this was for August, and I draw like at random pages, so this is not in order. So if you're thinking like how you got to August 2022, if you drew one every month, and you showing us this one and it's in August, just because I don't draw um, in order in the book. I just go to a random page and start drawing. So, all right. Okay, I just told you guys a lie. This one was August 2022. The last one was July. So, what ended up happening was the Naruto that I just showed you guys. I started it in July, but I didn't finish it until August. But I needed to still do another one in August so that I could do one every month. So I finished them both in August, but this one is specifically for the month of August, and Naruto was for July. So this is how this one looks. Fun fact, these little black marks you see right here, I was in school and I was drawing during school, and I think I was doing an assignment, and highlighter ended up getting right here. So I just tried to cover it with these little black squares or rectangles that you see here, but that was a little unfortunate. But outside of that, this drawing is very simple. The Madara half looks a lot better than the Hashirama half, but it's fine. I'm gonna do Hashirama justice one day. But yes, August 2022. That was this one. Let's see. All right, this one is September. This one is September. September 2022. Two of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. I was like, why not put them together? I like the movie iteration of both of these characters, so I decided to draw them in the same panel. The BoJack movie drawings is very cool. Like that's probably one of my undisputed favorite characters in Dragon Ball. Like still. And then of course, Future Gohan always been cool. But yeah, that's both of them next to each other side by side. So the pose I could have done better with like the positioning of some of the parts of the pose, but the actual shading, I messed with the shading on this one. Alright, let's see. Okay, this is October, I believe. Okay, yeah. So I remember I remember drawing this during my gym period where we had to go in the classroom instead of actually being outside. So like I believe on Wednesdays, but this is sorry about that. This is when I drew Naruto. This is actually one of his better looking forms in my opinion. Top 3 Naruto forms look wise. Honestly, Baryon mode is really tough. Six Tails is really cool. And then after that would either be Sage 6 Pass or Bijou Sage mode. those are like interchangeable. But those are my top 3 favorite looking forms in this show from him. But yeah, this is October. He's holding around Sengon, of course. So okay. This is 2022, but I could not tell you what month. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what month this is. But I do know it's towards the beginning of 2022. I believe this was right after the Gogeta drawing. Of course, Kefla from Dragon Ball. But this is actually the 3rd time I've drawn her. The first time I drew her was many years ago during my mom's house. During a time when I went to my mother's house in Georgia for a break. I remember drawing her the end of 2020 for a Christmas present. Now, the first time I said I drew her when I was at my mom's house, I don't know when that was exactly, but I do know that this time when I drew her in 2022, it was the 3rd time. So that's how this looking. But yeah. Alright. Let's see. Okay. I believe this is 2021. This is 2021 if I'm not mistaken. One of my other simpler drawings. It doesn't look that bad, it's just simple. Not too much details going on, but yeah, this is another one from 2021. One of the legendary Sony. Not really too much to say about this one. I actually don't even remember drawing this. Let's see. Okay. Now we got one of my favorites. Okay. I believe that Kefla that I showed was February of 2022, and this one was March. So this is Cooler from Dragon Ball, of course. Honestly, one of my more favorite characters in the show is him and Janemba are very cool. I like the movie villains a bit more than the canon villains, but yeah, this is another one. I really like this one. This was one of the first drawings where I'm like, okay, like this is actually getting cool. Of course, you can see his supernova attack. He's holding up with the smoke around it. This one actually looks tough. I like this one a lot. Alright, now we're going back to 2021 again. And yeah. So these are the drawings that I've done. But I don't know why I just said that. I lost train of thought. But yeah, this is when I was like drawing up. Like I drew a couple other Boruto characters around that year. This one being the first, but this panel just looks very cold, like a Boruto. At the time, I was really messing with it, so I'm like, I'm just gonna draw it. Why not? And that's what I ended up doing. So there we have it. I believe this was around April. But yeah. Alright. This was June 2022. This is one of my favorite ones for sure. Okay. I need to be more careful with this. Some of the sides are starting to mess up, but yes, this was one of my favorites for sure. This one is amazing. Fun fact: I used to play a game known as Dragon Ball Legends a lot. This is actually this is like inspired from that. I literally just looked at the photo, and that's what I do for all my drawings. I always have like a photo I just look at and just draw from. But this one I copied basically, I tried to do basically verbatim from the Dragon Ball Legends fan art that they had for this legend that was released for a little while by that point. I believe these units in the game came out 2021, but you know, of course I would draw him much later, but I would draw them much later. But this is how it's looking. This is one of my favorites. This is definitely one of my favorites so far. So, alright. I gotta be careful with this, yeah. Alright, there we go. This one, you know, a lot of people's favorite character inside of this anime. Not my favorite character, but he used to be one of my favorites. I'm a Tanjiro guy now, but of course this one's really good. This was November 2022, so yeah, this one is very nice. Not too much to say. I'm proud of the work that I did on this one. This one looks very nice. One thing that I did note was this handle part right here, where his thumb is up, right here. It actually took me a little while to like. I had to make sure that I did it properly. That part was a little like challenging. I had to make sure to keep the sword straight while keeping the thumb and handle and lightning around it like at least sort of symmetrical and aligned properly. So that was like the most challenging part of this drawing. All right, this next one is January of 2022. So this was coming off, I think, yeah, I remember coming back from my mom's house in December 2021. No, I remember coming back in 2022 after Christmas break 2021, and I started working on this during the second half of my sophomore year in second period. I actually got a compliment on my drawing. This was the first time I got a compliment on that I remember, like actually getting a compliment from one of my drawings from somebody else. So, you know, W Kakashi in the chat. I know a lot of people's favorite Naruto character is Kakashi. So that's what's up. I'm trying to think, who is my favorite Naruto character? In part 1, I'd say Lee. Part 2, yeah, part 1, Rock Lee, definitely. Part 2, let me think. That's actually a solid question. Maybe maybe moderate. Maybe moderate. It's a lot of like, it's a lot of options. It's a lot of solid options to choose from as a favorite for to like to be your favorite character. So okay, this one was wait, January. I believe this was March 2022, if I remember correctly. I think I did 2 drawings that month. I did the cooler and then I did this one. So, W Hinata, of course. We saw what she did in the paint arc for Naruto. One of the realest women in One Piece. W character indeed. Alright. This one is 2021. I drew this, I started drawing this the summer of 2021. Well, August. If you consider August summer, then yeah. But if not, then I drew it in August. This is also okay. My alarm clock decided to butt in, but we're back. This is one of my favorite drawings from 2021. Actually, in general, now that I think about it, because the fan art for it, like the I don't know why, like the pose for this Sasuke looks tough. I had a very fun time drawing the hair and doing the shading on the hair. You know, of course, this is when he fought Naruto at the end of part 1. So, it's just very, it's one of my favorite forms of Sasuke. And speaking of Sasuke, we got Sasuke that I drew at the end of 2020. This one is pretty solid. It's simple. So in the actual photo, I don't know how the photo, like the reference photo was. Either the Chidori wasn't there or this shuriken wasn't there. But I added, either one or the other I added. I believe it was the shuriken though. But that's this is Sasuke that I drew. Simple shading, nothing crazy. Alright, this is April 2022. So. Alright, it's another, this is another solid one. Boroshiki for y'all, Boroshiki for all those who may not know from the Boruto anime. I'm sure you guys can tell I was very into Naruto / Boruto. That's like most of what I've drew. That and Dragon Ball. So this one's nice. I enjoyed drawing this. I remember during this time period, I remember drawing this. I was in school sophomore year, and I remember being in those classes where like they send you because there's no sub or teacher, but it wasn't the auditorium. It was just a different classroom this time. So that's when I remember drawing this. But yeah, that one was good. Now this one is my first bleach drawing. A few more to come. I'm actually working on a bleach drawing currently, but this was December of 2022, so this marks the end of the 2022 drawings. I mess with this drawing a lot. I drew this during Christmas break of 2022. So, you know, I was with my mother, just chilling over there. And yeah, I like this drawing. Y'all let me know in the comments which one y'all, which drawing is y'all favorite drawing in the comments. We're coming across mines pretty soon here. Let's see. Okay. Another one, Demon Slayer one. Probably one of my most detailed so far. Actually, I would probably say this is my most detailed so far. This one I actually enjoy drawing, so I actually started this towards the end of 2023 during my 7th period of my senior year, and I actually didn't end up finishing it until around October of 2024. So this one I took a large break on, but I decided to pick it up 2024 and finish it, and this is the end result. So I'm very glad I did, because like I said, this is probably one of my most like detailed so far. This one is actually very, very tough. This is definitely in the top 3 of my favorites. So now we have another top 3 drawing right here. I drew this the beginning of 2023. Around, I believe, March. This is probably the only drawing I did in 2023 before I started the Kokoshiba one, but of course I didn't finish that one till last year, like I was explaining. But this is my only completed drawing of 2023, I believe. But it's okay, because it's a good drawing, so arguably one of my favorites. Well, no, this is definitely top 3. I believe that's it for this specific book. I don't think I did anything else. Not in this book. Yeah, I'm trying to look. Okay, yeah. Alright, so that was the end of this book. I gotta go to my other book, because I have a couple more to talk about in there. So, let's start with the later ones that I've done. Okay, we'll start with this one. This one's unfinished. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna show y'all. Okay. So this one is unfinished. Another Vegeta drawing that I did finish. I don't know why I don't finish drawing my Vegetas. But yeah, this is another unfinished Vegeta drawing. It was inspired by a Ultra Ego like fan art video. That's why the hair looks a little like that, but I like the wavy look to it, and like the windy effects that it has. So, but of course, you know, this was supposed to be a birthday gift for another year from my father that I did not finish. I need to lock in with Vegeta. Let's see. I believe this was towards the end. Let's see. I have a couple more drawings from 2021. Okay, here's one of them. You remember how, I don't know if y'all remember, but earlier how I was saying, I lied, wow. Okay, this is 2021. That Boruto drawing, oh, the Boruto drawing was too, I'm tripping. Okay, so yeah, this is another drawing I did 2021. This was, what made me inspired to draw her was after that Boro fight. When they all had to jump the Boro, yeah, right before Boroshiki popped up in the anime, she took his core and broke it. But that, I was like, yeah, saw her the low key tough. So I was like, why not draw her? And this is, you know, and there we have her. Now, I had a couple, okay, here it is. Here it is, okay. This is honestly one of my favorite drawings, though. Even though, unfortunately, I had my little sister decided to make another autograph, and I decided to get rid of it, but I never filled back in the space, so that's what ended up happening there. And somebody decided to write my name, so that's cool. But and again, but yes, this is of course Naruto's daughter and Boruto. This is my favorite simpler one. Like out of all the simpler drawings I had, this is definitely my favorite. I enjoy doing the hair. Alright. And now we go to late 2024 / 2025 drawings. So let's start with those. Okay. So this one is, I think, November 2024. So here we have Thorfinn from Villain Saga. So I believe this is my favorite drawing from 2024 outside of the Kokushibo one. Only thing, like, the only thing with this one, like, oops, my bad. You can tell it's Thorfinn, but it doesn't really look exactly like Thorfinn. That was like my only little like issue with this. Like, I don't think the drawing looks bad. It just doesn't look like Thorfinn that much. So that's like an issue I had, but it's fine. I'm not too worried about it. This is when I started to get back into drawing, because this was during 2024. So around this time, I finished this drawing and the Kokushibo drawing around the same time. That's what I was like, all right, let me try to get back into drawing a little bit. Because, you know, I only drew one drawing in 2023, and most of 2024 I didn't draw anything until, like, you know, of course, the end. So I had already graduated by this point. You know, this is past May. But, yep, this is Thorfinn. Okay. This was December 2024. I could have done better for this drawing. In fact, I actually think I messed up. And I should redraw her, but for right now, I'll leave it. Let me make sure that this is transferred properly. Okay. Alright. And that's Mikasa from AOT. So I could have done better on the eyes. I wanted to actually have it like a decent gradient from the pupil, but I ended up messing up, so I had to shade it completely. But this is like, you know, this one's very simple too compared to the other stuff that I've done. So it's not really it's not too crazy of a drawing, but it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. So, and W character from AOT. W character. Alright. Now we got the 2025 completed drawings. And I'm proud to say I have a whopping 2. Alright. And for the first drawing of 2025 in February, completed either January or February, we have the legendary Ghost of the Uchiha. So that's what this one is, of course. I was drawing this during my time of watching One Piece. Peak show, by the way. I'm completely a One Piece person now. Going over these drawings made me realize how much captivated I was by Naruto. Naruto was a very good show though, so that's not a bash to Naruto, but Naruto definitely had me. So, you know, yeah, this is how it looks, and yeah, I like the Susanoo for this one was good. My thing was like, I've been wanting to draw Madara, but I never really found something that I really wanted to draw. So when I found this fan art photo, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like this one is tough. This one is tough, so I ended up drawing it. But yep, that's Madara. And now we got our last completed drawing up to date from One Piece that I started at the beginning of this year, and I didn't finish till August because I'll be taking breaks from drawing for some reason. So but okay, here we are, our first of many One Piece drawings to come. I really was inspired to draw her after I got to Amazon Lily in One Piece, right after Sabaody, of course. And I'm like, this character cool, so I'm gonna try and draw her. And you know, that's what ended up happening. So I actually really like this one too. I like the shading that I did on the dress and how accurate it was to the actual photo. But yeah, so this is the last you know, drawing that I've caught up on, that I've actually completed. And I'll show you guys the drawing I'm working on currently. And that is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ichigo. So, my goal is to have his Bankai form from the Soul Society, his first Bankai shown, right here. And I want to have his Vasto Lorde form as the background over here. So, a little bit of insight on how this drawing is going to potentially end up whenever I get done with it, because honestly, I can't give y'all a day on when I'll finish it, but I know it will get done eventually. Hopefully before the end of 2025. So that's where we're at right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. For all of these drawings, I had reference photos that I looked at and then I just drew it. Like I would look at my phone and then I'll just draw it. So I've never, like, only one time back in middle school have I attempted to just draw something completely off of, like, no reference, no nothing of like, only my brain. But, yeah. Over 95% of the time, I have a reference photo that I go off of. So, that's how it is. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed my drawings. Again, if you made it this far, you know, I appreciate it a lot. Comment your favorite drawing in the comments, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.